So welcome to the Adobe Photoshop training. I am doing this video so that you can refer back at your leisure to some of the things that I plan on covering today with you and help you become more familiar with the things that we covered at your own pace. So Photoshop, like other applications that you work with, will have a menu bar, and it's similar. You have a file option, and it lets you either create a new document, open a document, and some other features that we'll go over, including close and save. You can edit what you're doing in the document, and the image, layer, type, select, and filter are options that aren't typically in other applications that you've been working on, but we'll go over each one of those today. The view, like other applications, just lets you control how you're seeing your document on the screen. It doesn't necessarily affect how it is going to come out or how it is printed. Now, the window option is very important because it allows you to see the different tools that are available within Photoshop. And the tools that we have open now are application frame to show our menu bar, our options window, which shows what is available for the specific tool that we're working with, and our tool. The tools window is over here. It has like the move tool, the arrow that I have selected now, and a lot of other, if you follow my cursor, other tools that are available. And when you select a tool, let's go back to the options window, the options for that tool will show up here at the top. So, and it will change as each tool that I select changes. So if I change to the selection tool, then the options for the selection tool shows up. If I select the lasso tool, the options for the lasso tool show up, and on and on and on. You see the options will change for each tool that I select. Now, another window that's very important to have available for you to view in Photoshop is the layers window. And when I click that, you see it opens over here to your left screen. And it shows that there's really only one layer going on in this document, and that is a text layer. You see it has a big T, see, indicates text layer that I have here. And if I click the move tool, the arrow, then I can take that layer and I can move it anywhere in the document. Okay, now I'm going to show you a different file that I already have open here. And this is a series cover that I did that I have available on this computer that I could show a lot of the different layers that were used. Now you can look here, there's a lot of different text layers here, and there's not that many though, but however many you choose to use in your document, Photoshop allows you to label those layers so that in editing you can refer back to the layers and choose to either select them and use your move tool to move them around, or to just deselect the eye here, which takes away the visibility of the layer. And if you don't have things labeled, then it makes it hard for you. It takes you longer to try and figure out where the layer is for a specific element for you to edit. So I felt that was important to mention. And if you see here, I can go on my tools bar and I can select a text field here, and I'm going to drag out a text field, and I'm going to type in test. Now, as I'm typing in test, you see that it created the layer for me as soon as I drew out the text field, and it does not have it labeled here. However, when you're creating text, it will automatically label it for you. So all I have to do is click out of the text or the text field by selecting my move tool, and you can see that it has already labeled my text for me. Now, if I were to choose to go down here and select an object such as a rectangular tool here, and let me make my fill like a color that you can see. See, I choose fill for the shape, and remind you, this was a tool I selected, the rectangle tool, and so the options for the rectangular tool showed up. And the options I wanted, it allows me to change the color or the fill of the shape. Now it's red. So now I go back down here on my screen and I draw out the rectangle, and you see. And it also appears on my layers here as a rectangle 1. And if I'm doing a whole lot of rectangles, then you can get lost as to which rectangle the layer refers to. So that way I can just, if I just put my cursor here onto rectangle and double click it or even click it once, it'll automatically highlight for me to change it and relabel it. So I'm going to label it red box 1. There. Now, once I use a tool or create a tool, the text box, a square, as soon as I click the move tool, it allows me to exit that tool, and then I can further manipulate or move or edit whatever it is that's highlighted. And right now the red box is still highlighted because we just created it. And so I can move it around on the screen anywhere, and say I want to take a text field here, and then see how it holds up a like circle around the text. It's saying, do you want to make this your actual text field the same shape as the box? And I'm just going to click in it to allow for that. And I'm going to type in, let me go back, because once you do a text field, a cursor will begin to appear. If you don't see the cursor, that means that your text field is too small for your font size. So I'm going to make my font size 18. And I can see something blinking up there. That's a little too small still. So I'm going to go 44. That's bigger. And now I'm going to type in, and that's probably still a little too big. I'm going to go to 30. Type in $sign and $20 there. So we know that that series costs $20. And I'm just going to go ahead and select a basic font here. And now you see, and I can then, okay, make it small, text box smaller, and fit it in the box. Okay, so now you see how the 20 is highlighted here, and the move tool is selected. And so I can move this 20 anywhere in the red box, or I can move it off the red box and somewhere else. You see the options for the move tool are here. And if I want to edit the $20 and make it $25 or $19.99, all I have to do is go back to the text option or the text tool, and then it's already highlighted over here, the layer that I'm working with, and I put my cursor onto the 20 here, and then I can do further edits, such as highlighting it and changing it, the text color to white, and move back to the move tool, and I can kind of just adjust it slightly. And Then what I can do is add another text fill, maybe smaller at the top, make it a smaller font, like say 14, and say I write the words save or sale. I click back on the move tool. I can move the cell right above the $20, and there. There's another window such as the styles windows that allows you to put cool graphics on top of your text or your images. So right now my red box is highlighted on the layer, so anything I do is affecting that layer only. So I'm going to scroll through the styles, and you see when I click the window for styles, the styles window showed up over here. And say I like this chrome satin, and I click it, and it automatically changed my red box to chrome satin. Now I do not like the way chrome satin looks there, so if we were to scroll and choose another option that might fit better, such as this red with gradient stroke, we can select that option, and it shows here at the bottom of this layer all the different effects that's used to create that red. What is it called again? A red satin glow. And the only trouble with this is that it does not tell you what style you use. So what's good to do is, if you're going to keep that style, you can always double click your description again and just type in the style that you chose. Okay, let me click off of it so that it reads there. Now if I choose to look at some other ones just to play around, or I accidentally click something and I forgot that my layer was selected, then I can easily go back to what style by having my memory trigged by looking at the label and knowing that, okay, it was the, where's it at? Red with gradient stroke. Red with gradient stroke. So I don't know how I got red satin glow, but red with gradient stroke. Do I always do this? No. And I'm gonna show you that the lasso tool, or the selection tool, has, after the arrow, allows you to choose different types of shapes for your selection, the rectangle or the circle, and let's just say I like the elliptical, the circle selection tool. So I'm gonna click that, and I'm going to then go and put it on what layer I want to have a image selected from, and that's the bottom layer, the actual image. And then I'm going to just draw a circle, and now I have the foot highlighted. And you have to be careful with this tool, because if you go back to the move tool, then you could it basically performs a cut feature, where if you use your move tool to move it, it will move it somewhere else in your document, wherever you choose to put it. And if you do some other task with it, then it's hard for it to get back. And although undo is available, If you do some other actions, after a while the undo move does not become available. So you have to watch how many actions you do after something. So what's good practice to have is before you make selections and do a lot of changes to a document, you go down to that layer, you right click, and you scroll up to click duplicate layer. And I'm going to duplicate layer. It already has a layer of serve, and it's changing it to serve copy. And now I have 2 layers. So I can take away the visibility of the first one, and the second one that I'm working with, I can do whatever I want to. And I don't want the selection anymore, so I'm going to click on the magic wand and click into the gray. And if I don't like that, which it looks kind of odd, I can always just take away the visibility and I still have the original image. So that's something good for you to know, is that all you have to do is duplicate a layer, and then you can make changes to one layer. And if you feel that you've messed it up, you always have a backup. So back to reviewing the different toolbars. We saw how the marquee function allows us to make selections in a rectangular, elliptical, single row, or single column. We saw, or here, I can demonstrate the lasso. It does the same thing. It allows you to lasso an area that you want to highlight, and then you could take that selection. And what I've done sometimes is I do Command J, but on an PC you would do Control J, and I was able to duplicate that selection. So you see I move it over here, there's the same selection still there. Let me just move it back. That way I could then duplicate that layer, that selection that I just made. And here's foot selection copy, and then foot selection. And the foot selection, the one that is underneath the copy, so I could put a style on it, and it would be a style that I think would have a good background. That's not the one I would want. You know, and that's the thing with Photoshop too, is a lot of this is trial and error, the things that you're able to do and experiment with. And that's a lot of what I do, is experiment with different things. It either works the way I think it's going to work, or it doesn't. In this case, it really didn't work the way I thought it was going to work. If I were to take away the selection, and for whatever reason the lasso just gave a moon effect, so, and now I understand the reason why it gave the moon effect was because when I selected the layer to copy, or to make the circle from, I chose the edited copy, the serve copy, and that's why it didn't give me a full circle. So if I get rid of that, or just make it not visible, and I have my layer selected on the original image, then I can select the lasso tool, and let's see if it works this time. Or I can just draw and lasso an area, and then Control J gives me that copy, and see it's here, how much I put selection. and I'm going to move it up, and then I'm going to right click and duplicate that layer, and then I'm going to show the see, this layer gives a border of the image. If I was to remove the duplicate, you would just see it does this, and that's why I have the duplicate on there, to show the actual image. And it's just a small effect. There's going to be other ways you will use this, but the lasso tool just allows you to kind of draw whatever the selection is. You need to have a steady hand. You see my hand's not steady there, and I don't really necessarily need these, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete them both and move on to the other selection tools. So this is the magic wand tool. It's a really good tool for you to pull up a file where you might want to remove the background, because it selects an area that's all the same color. So if I go to the file menu and I click place, I'm going to put in a document or an image. And so see, I have this, I've inserted and placed it in my document, and it has it highlighted. So all I would have to do is drag it to however big I want it to be, click on that move or the arrow, and it automatically places the file, and I can move it, and then I can demonstrate the magic wand feature. So if I click on the white, it highlights all of the white, and then what I typically do, I'm just going to scroll down a few tools here and use the eraser button. This is the eraser tool, and I chose background eraser. I click on that. It tells me it has to be rasterized, so that's fine. I'm just going to go ahead and see that it does that. And you see, if I click it, it slowly removes it, but these are really small amounts at a time. So remember how this is the toolbar and this is the option. And whatever options are available for the tool that I'm using, the background eraser, it's up here. So right now I set it as a 28 diameter for the eraser, and I'm going to set that to a higher, like 472 pixels. And so at any given time, it's like deleting quite a bit of pixels at a time there. So now I removed the white background, and you can find that very useful in a lot of different JPEGs or images you might select that you like, but you don't necessarily want that white block in the back. You just use this magic wand feature here, and it will do that for you. This tool also has the quick selection tool, which if we were to go back and undo select and step backward again and step backward again, step backward again, that's fine, that's good enough, and then choose the quick selection tool. This allows me to, like, say, select this square, and see, it's all one color like the magic wand would have selected, but I can also hold my shift key down and move over a little bit, and it'll also click that red just as well. And if I wanted to, I could either delete it, or if I have it selected here, I can hit Control J and duplicate just that part of the image. So isn't that cool? And just imagine the different things that you can do. So right now I'm going to end this recording, because I don't want it to be too long, but just to give you a good idea of just some of the tools that are available. And I'll be doing more. They won't cover the whole lesson, but kind of just gives you an idea of some of the different ways you can use Photoshop and some of the things that I'm going to be covering in the original session. All right, thank you.